In today's video, we're going to talk about how Marvel is going to make an epic comeback to their glory days leading up to Kang's Dynasty and also Secret Wars. But the Marvel's movie is actually the most important Marvel movie that Marvel Studios is going to release in the last few years massively. So, yo, what is freaking good, YouTube? What's you here? If you are new around, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture-based content that I try to cover on a daily basis. If you could, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know down below, if you were Marvel Studios, if you were Kevin Feige, how would you lead up to Secret Wars? Because we all know that every single character in the world is going to appear in Secret Wars if they can finance it. So, irrespective of the writer's strike and the actor's strike, at some point, the studios will come to some arrangement with the WGA and with Saga Actors Organization. So at some point, this will be resolved. But at the moment, we have the Marvels movie coming out in November, and this movie is so important. So also, if you could, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. And also, if you could, check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, aka x.com. If you want to interact with me over there, pretty easy because I've got like 5 followers. So let's break it down. So the Marvels have had a lot of controversy because people just don't like Brie Larson. I don't get it. The last movie grossed over $1 billion, but it wasn't that important. Yep, you're right, it wasn't. It's just scheduling and how they release it. But this movie is very important. So a lot of people say, oh, Captain Marvel's done in the MCU because it's not called Captain Marvel 2, but it is essentially Captain Marvel 2. It's just there's 2 other characters, Miss Marvel and Photon, according to toy leaks, but apparently she's not going to be called Photon. But she basically is Photon. We know that. We can see the trailer. So, careful for spoilers, I don't want to ruin your life. We are going to have to go over some plot leaks to back up what we're saying. So the post-credit scene and the ending of this movie is going to essentially tease up, finally, and get to the connective tissue that everything has been missing in the MCU. The reason Marvel worked so well was because they didn't have one main star. They had multiple main stars throughout phase 1 to phase 3. You had Captain America, Steve Rogers. You had Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., essentially the main stars. And then you had other people like Black Widow, Wanda, appearing in everyone else's others movies, etc. And that really is the missing part here, because outside of Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, people don't really care for a lot of these other characters. And that's the problem that Feige's having, is they released all these Disney Plus shows because of what was going on in the world, and it seemed a good idea, but no one really cares for these other characters. Yeah, okay, don't get out me in the comments. I'm saying at the moment they don't care. So recently, okay, it wasn't actually recently. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of recently. I mean, within the last month or so, the Marvel producers have teased a connection to the Marvel's movie and Kang's Dynasty, because let's face it, no Avengers movie is ever going to flop. So this to say, Kang's Dynasty is currently scheduled to be released in 2026, maybe, but it depends when the writer's strike ends and when the actor's strike ends, because there's no writer for Kang's Dynasty, because apparently Jeff Loveness was fired. So in Miss Marvel, we learn the bangles paired with some other form of power can force a temporary hole in space and time to lead somewhere else. With the power of both bangles, more is definitely possible. And we'll see the combination of that over the course of the movie. It definitely leads to many opportunities for the future of the MCU, whatever the Avengers and Secret War teams may want to do with that. So, as we know, there is supposed to be some kind of connection between Shang-Chi's 10 rings and Kamala Khan's bangles, where she can essentially force a temporary hole in space and time and go somewhere completely different. Now, is this how Kang is going to travel through time really fast? Or will that be a space-time traveling machine? We don't know, but there's a reason why Marvel is pushing Miss Marvel so much. They recently put her TV show on ABC. Yeah, sure, bro, it didn't do very well. So, there's been a lot of independent movies like Doctor Strange 2, which tie into a lot of other things. So, we know the theory is that the multiverse is going to die because of the incursions, because of what Doctor Strange did in the Multiverse of Madness, and also because of what the other Kangs, the Council Kangs, are allegedly doing. So you've got to take everything with a pinch of salt. So we know the villain of the movie called The Marvels is the Ben, played by Loki, Tom Hiddleston's real-life girlfriend, who they've just had a baby together. So we know the narrative is D'Ben is destroying planets because she wants to create and bring resources back to her planet. And in doing so, she creates portals that makes the universe unstable, most likely increasing the likelihood of incursions. Now, right at the end of Doctor Strange 2, we get someone come in and go, yo, there's incursions, I need your help. And it looks like Doctor Strange with clear pieces to the dark dimension because the green screen, the coloring looked exactly the same. So this has led people, and it also says it in the plot leak, that the climax of the Marvels, there is going to be an incursion that happens. Carol fights D'Ben whilst Monica and Kamala try to fix the incursion. Monica ends up flying through the tear in the universe, fixes it on the other side, but gets stuck there. In the most recent featurette, there looked like there was something that potentially was some kind of incursion wall, and if she goes through it, she appears somewhere completely different. That could definitely be possible, but incursions have to start occurring. And this is one of the biggest problems, is incursions in the multiverse saga, because so far right now, only a few projects have addressed the multiverse and Kang. Being Loki addressed it, explained everything. WandaVision, kind of. And Ant-Man 3 was more of a teaser and more setting everything up. But the audience is getting really frustrated because they just want to see everything connect together. And at the moment, it doesn't appear that that's going to happen at all. So it seems like the Marvels movie is going to end with Monica sacrificing herself by choosing to stand on the other side of this rift that leads to the other side of the universe, which is colliding with the 616. So when they successfully stop the incursion, which they may or may not do, Monica gets stuck somewhere. And then, obviously, what's going to happen is they're going to go look for her. So it appears, potentially, I'm not saying this is real, but in the first post-credit scene, Monica wakes up in hospital and sees her mum, Maria, dressed in Captain Marvel's costume, and that she donned in Multiverse of Madness. It's not implied that this is Earth 838, unless Monica also traveled back in time, but rather another universe where Maria happens to be Captain Marvel. The scene, of course, would be parallel to episode 4 of WandaVision, where Monica wakes up in hospital. Interesting. That could happen. It really could happen. So it's also worth saying that apparently there's a really important post-credit scene where Kang is watching and you only see his eye. It's worth saying that none of this stuff can ever be verified by anyone, regardless of where the report comes from. There's no point me saying where this report is coming from. So from now on, I'm just going to say reports rather than actually justifying or rather than actually saying what I think of what is happening. But the incursions have to start happening. Then if you go back to what the producers said, it said teases a connection to Kang's Dynasty. What they do with that, that's up for discussion. But there is definitely something happening with the bangles and D'Ben, who possesses the other bangle that forms a pair with Kamala Khan. Given the power of the two bangles, when they are joined together, what's going to happen? We'll find out. Clearly, if it looks like in the trailer that D'Ben is successful in harvesting resources, does that mean she gets Miss Marvel's bangle? We don't know. But there's definitely been teases throughout the MCU and also in Ant-Man 3 that Miss Marvel's bangle, alongside Shang-Chi's 10 rings, are somehow going to play a massive part in what is coming with the multiverse. We just don't know yet, because in a post-credit scene, where we have Bruce Banner, Carol Danvers, the 10 rings were doubling some kind of beacon. Also discovered the rings a millennium ago, where they were much older than given in Shang-Chi. So there's a lot going on with these 10 rings and the bangle that we don't know. The multiverse saga is still fresh. And the reason why the audience is getting frustrated is obvious. And I do agree, and I do see where everyone's coming from, is because it's too slow. They need to pick up the pace. But after the Marvels, we should see where all these little pieces are connecting together, and the audience should be like, yo, this is how they're building everything up. And hopefully the Kang post-credit scene is real, because you need to see the big bang. But did Kang actually die at the end of Ant-Man 3? It looked like he was sucked into some kind of universe, which a lot of people have speculated and accumulated that it would actually be the Beyondverse. That could be interesting. Something that will come up in Loki Season 2 is He Who Remains Death. They are essentially, if everything that I've read online is true, they are trying to stop it from ever happening because they are essentially going back in time, kind of, I guess you could say. So a lot of multiversal stuff will happen, in theory, with a lot of connective tissue, for sure. But I'm interested where it's going. I know Marvel's lost a lot of, I guess you could say, fans recently because it's just mid at the moment. But I have full faith that everything will pick up and the multiverse saga could actually be insane. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram on Warstu, check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, and I will catch you in another video very soon. But let me know, what do you think? Do you think the incursions will occur in the Marvels? It's got to happen in the Marvels because everything else outside of Deadpool 3 is pretty much self-contained on a surface level. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu, check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.